All right, in this module, we focus on how to maintain the data in an existing database and how to use query to retrieve results from a database. So first, we'll talk about how to find, modify, delete records in a table using the data sheet. All right, but that's actually usually not how you operate on a database. But anyway, we use that as a start. All right, the easy way to do it. Also, you can hide and unhide fields in a data sheet if the data sheet is too large. Then we'll talk about how to build a query. We'll talk about how to create, run, save a query, and how to update the data using the result from a query. How can we create query using multiple tables data? All right, and also how we sort the data in a query and how we filter a data in the query result. In the second session, we'll talk about how to put criteria into the query to find the data we need. Also, how we can use and or to connect multiple conditions in a query's running. We can we can format the results, the data sheets to make it look better. Also, we can create a calculated field in a query to perform calculations. At the end, we'll talk about how to use aggregate functions to get statistics from the database result. At the end, we'll talk about the navigation pane, just how we organize the objects in a database so they can be easily found and be organized properly. So first, let's talk about update the records in a database using the data sheet. All right, using a data sheet. If you look at the data sheet of a table, it looks pretty similar to Excel spreadsheet. So it's a grid, right? It's a table, it has columns, it has rows. So you can still update each cell like how you did it in Excel. So you can modify records by selecting the field you want to change, then change the value inside. All right, so that's what you can do with the data sheet. All right, so when you open the data sheet of a table, then you can select any field in any row, any column, and then change the value inside. Okay. When the data sheet is large, you can hide certain columns, certain rows, so that only the part of the sheet you want to see displayed on your screen. Again, this is a part borrowed from the Excel. All right, so you can hide, unhide fields to limit the display. You can also do search. All right, you can also do search. Again, this is pretty similar to other Microsoft Office Suite software. You can do search, and then when you're doing the search, you can change the option to decide you want to search a data sheet, you want to search a form, you want to search certain fields. So the search can be done in a pretty similar way as other software. When you need to delete a record on the data sheet, you can just select the record by clicking the row header and then use the delete button on the menu to delete the whole record. All right, so again, this part is pretty simple and you can follow them on the textbook and get them done. Okay. All right, you can see this is the file come from module 2's work. All right, that's why I named it Lakewood M2. So you should use your complete file from module 2 to start the work on module 3. So if I open this database, all right, I see the 3 tables: billing, patient, visit, and also make sure that the relationships are there. All right, one to many, one to many. Then let's go through some of the part quickly. If you go to the patient table, all right, you can see it's pretty long, right? There, it's a pretty long table. So what we can do is we can go to data birth and right click it, the header. Then you can see the hide fields, unhide fields. Okay, you can do that. If I hide the fields, it's gone. Now it's not deleted, it is just hidden. All right, if I click unhide fields, then the hidden field will be unchecked, shown as unchecked. Then you can check it, then it come back. All right, it come back, data birth is back. All right, so that's how you hide and unhide fields. You can also change data. All right, so if we go to the visit table, all right, the spreadsheet of the visit table, if we go to the record with ID 1528, all right, this is it. All right, in 1528, and then we can change the reason diagnosis. Currently, it's hypertension monitoring, right, which is blood pressure, high blood pressure monitoring, and we change to. You can delete what we have there and change to annual wellness visit, and press enter a couple times. You see that the record is updated. To do a search, all right, you can see that we have on the home tab, we have a find part. You can see, you can find, you can replace, you can go to. If you click find, then you will see that you can find a certain value, and where you want to find it, you want to find it in the current document, or you want to find it in the current field. Okay, so now if we cancel it, because before I click the find, the select data is one of the visit ID. That's why by default you are searching the visit ID. All right, you are searching the visit ID. So basically you select one of the field, and then click the find. So the default value is 1508. If for example I want to find 1480, okay, then I can click find next, then I will locate that item. So this is again pretty similar to how we do the search in Excel. Okay, there are a couple options you can use, either to find in the current field or maybe find in the whole document. Maybe I want to search the whole document, then I can search for 13276. Not only visit ID, I can also search for other columns data. All right, so you can go up or go down, or so a lot of time if you know you only want to search part of the spreadsheet, not spreadsheet, I'm sorry, the part of the data sheet, then you can select the row and then ask the computer to only search up or only search down. All right, so these are the search options you can have. Again, you can use replace to change all the values to something else. Okay, so that's the search and replace. All right, I think here we need to search for the visit ID. All right, visit ID 1529, and we need to change it to 1475. All right, so it's supposed to do that. All right, I'm doing that. 1475. Now here, when you change in visitor ID, as we discussed in previous module, you need to be careful of the relationship, or the referential integrity. But this time it's okay, because visitor ID is not used. This number we are changing is not used as a foreign key value in another table. To delete, we need to delete this record, so you can. Okay. Oh, okay, let me see. Yeah, actually my mistake. So we change back to 1529. All right, we change back to 15229. This number is 1529. All right, we're not supposed to, because there is a 1475 already. So if you do that, make that a change, it will become a duplicated primary key. So actually, for the textbook, you're only asked to find it, all right, but not change anything. Okay, so now we delete something. We go to record 1475. You selected the whole record by clicking the row header, and then you can delete this record. In the home page, home tab, you can click delete a record. So but now you can see that you cannot delete this one because the billing includes related records. Okay, this is part of review. Why this delete doesn't happen? Because the visit ID 1475 is used in billing table. So because of the referential integrity, you cannot delete it, because if you delete this visit record, then in billing table, some records will become orphaned. Okay, so we cannot do that now. So what do we do? How we deal with it? I don't know if you noticed that or not. Here in this table, do you see the small plus button on the side? This plus button actually become available after you establish the one-to-many relationship. So if you click it, it will show you that this 1475 record is related to this billing table record. All right, is related to this billing table record. So that's the reason why you cannot delete 1475. Okay, so what you can do is delete this billing tables record, but you don't need to go to billing table to do that. Fortunately, in Access, you can easily do that here. Just click this record. All right, let's open it in the billing table. All right, what is the number? 26554. 26554. In billing table, it is this record. All right, 26554. Now, you can delete it here, but if you don't want to open the billing table, you can just delete it from here. So click it, right click it, then delete record. Or you can just click it, then click delete. Now you're about to delete one record. I say yes. Now if I go to billing table, you see this one is gone. This one is gone. All right, I close the billing table. Now if I come back to 1475, so it has no related record in the billing table anymore. I click it, I delete it. Yes, it can be deleted. All right, so when you delete record, because we didn't set up cascade delete, then sometime when you delete a record, it won't happen until you delete its related record in another table. All right, in the previous part, so we talked about how to operate on the data sheet, just like how you operate on an Excel spreadsheet. Then you may ask, okay, if that's how we operate on the table, operate on the data, why we even need a database, right? Why we just stay with Excel, which is pretty powerful already. The reason we use database is that we usually don't use a data sheet to operate the data. Instead, most of the time when you're using database, you will use query to operate on the data. You can use query to display selected field and record from table instead of hiding fields, using search. No, you don't. You can use a query, program a query to easily get the columns, the rows you want from a table or even from multiple tables. You can easily sort the records by using query. Of course, in spreadsheet, in the data sheet, you can do that too. You can use filter you can use order to sort the records. You can perform calculation easily. Perform calculation between the fields, data on different fields on the same record can be done. You can generate the form, reports, and other queries using the query. You can even update data using the query. You don't need to click each data you want to update manually and change their value. Instead, you can write a program, which is a query, to update a large amount of data in a simple click. All right. Of course, you can find data from multiple tables. Data sheets only allow you to work on one table. One data sheet, one table. But a lot of time, the information you want to retrieve come from multiple tables. Then query will be very useful. And when you are running a query in Access, you will see that the result from a query's running is in the form of a data sheet. Now, this data sheet is just shown as the result of a query, but it's not a table. All right, so be careful. Data sheet is not always a table. Data sheet is just a grid used to show you something. When you open a table data sheet, the data sheet contains the content of the table. But when you run a query, the data sheet show up actually is the result from the query. The results are stored in the format of a data sheet, but it's not saved as a table. So when you close the data sheet, all data gone, or all the results are gone. So if you want the results again, run the query again. So the data sheet from a query is just like a display on your screen. All right. Inside the query result data sheet, the result inside is called record set. All right, because data are organized in rows, so they just look like records. So to build a query, Access provide a very convenient graphic interface tool. All right, actually, you can easily build a query without typing any code. In the next semester, all right, in the spring semester, in advanced database analysis, we'll talk about how to write a program to build a query. But in this semester, all right, in Access, we only use the tool. We only use a graphic tool to build our queries. Next semester, we'll talk about that. The query we build in this semester actually it's pretty powerful, but is incomplete. All right, some powerful queries cannot be built from this kind of graphic interface query building. All right, so realize the convenience, but also you need to realize the limitation from the query building we learn in Access. All right, when you build a query, you need to do a couple of things. First, you need to decide where the data come from. Every query, most queries, all right, based on the data in one or multiple tables. So first thing, you need to select table. Of course, queries data can also come from other queries. All right, so you use another query's result as input, then process the data to generate new in output. But anyway, you need to first decide how many tables or how many other queries you need to use as input to your new query. All right, then you need to decide how many columns will be in your result. So that's why in the lower part, all right, in the query building window, you can see that you need to choose the columns to be displayed or to supposed to be calculated in the query. All right. So for each column, you need to decide the field's name, from which table, which field will be used to be displayed in the result. Now, do you want to really show it? Because in the future, you will see some query will hide some of the columns. They will be included in the query, but are not displayed. If you want to display it, make sure you check this checkbox. All right, do you want to sort based on that records? So all of them can be determined. All right, so this is the main window we will focus on in this chapter. How to build a query by using this tool. When you open a data sheet for a table, you will see every field, every records inside the table. But when you build a query, then you can decide how many fields, how many records should be shown up in the result data sheet. Okay, so that's a very powerful function that can be performed by the query. You can even change the order of those fields, columns, rows, all of them can change. You can specify the order in which the result should be displayed. Okay, now let's create a very simple query without using the wizard. So let's close everything. All right. No, I don't want to change the layout. All right. So to create a new query, we go to Create tab, and then in the query part, all right, we click the query design. So this time we manually design the query instead of using the query wizard, which we used in module 1. All right, so we use the query design. All right, click query design. All right, now actually I don't need the property sheet here. Let me close it. So you're supposed to, all right, this part is different. So anyway, you should see the add table windows either pop up here or anchored on the side. Depends on your configuration of your tool. So the first thing I need to do is decide how many tables will be involved in this query. Now we build a very simple query. So the data only come from patient table. So we don't need any data from billing, from visit. So patient is enough for our query's result. So click the patient, click add. So you see one table displayed here in the query window. All right, that's all we need. So we can close this add table dialog box. If you want to add more table, you can always click this add table under design tab. Then the same window will pop up, allow you to add more tables into the design. All right, so now this is a table now we have. The next thing you need to do is to set up the fields. So this lower part actually tell you what will be displayed in the result of this query. All right, so let's make this a little bit larger. So we go to the patient table and find the field you want to display in your result. So let's say I want to show patient ID. So one thing you can do is double click it. If you double click it, it will be added into the result pane. So patient ID from patient table will be shown in your result. Okay, you can add more. So I want first name, but I seems like yes, I need last name. I need last name, I need first name, and I need a city, and I need an email. All right, you see, I don't select everything. I just want some of the columns. I choose 5 columns, all right, from patient table in this order, and I want to show all of them. That's why you can see the checkbox on all those 5 columns. All right, I have my query built. So when you are ready to run it, you click the run button. This run button will show you how this query run. If you click it, you see the result data sheet. All right, double check it. Is that what you want? If you think that's what you want, it's time to save it. Okay, you can go to the save button here, click save. Then the computer asks you, okay, you want to save this query, then please give a name to this query. So I name this query patient email. All right, and then click OK. Now you can see that I have a new query object pop up here as patient email. Now you can close this patient email. Anytime you want to see the result of those 5 columns, double click the patient email. All right, now here again, this data sheet is not stored in the computer for long term. It is calculated every time you run this query, which means next time, at this moment you can see I have like 51 records, right? 51 records. If next time someone adds some patient record in the patient table, then when you run the patient email again, you will see different number of records, even different data. So every time you run this patient email, the computer will go to patient table, fetch the current data, and display the current data. So for example, I have my name here as the first record. If I close it, I go to patient table and change my first name to I don't know, change it to REO. All right, that's another name sometime I use. Then if you close it, if you run the patient email, you will see the first name is also changed there. So very important, query is not a table. Query is just a program. Indicate where to get data, what kind of data will be used. But the data are stored in tables. So if you change the data in the tables, the return from the query also will be changed. Okay, so that's the first very simple query we have here. Now, when you have a result pop up as a data sheet from a query, Access allow you to go to the data sheet and change data. Then the change will be applied to the original table. Personally, I don't really like this kind of design. All right, but anyway, Microsoft made a decision to allow you to change the data in the query result, but actually you are changing the original table. Okay, so personally, I will never do that. If I want to change the data, I will use a formal way to change the data, but not changing the query's result to change the data. But anyway, it's supported, so I have to cover it here. All right, so you can change data from the query's results, but actually you are changing the original table's data. For example, if we run the patient email, all right, if you run the patient email query, So now I see that, okay, I'm looking at those results. I think I want to change the first name of the first record. So actually can do it. I change it, then confirm it. Now, what the change will go to? Because patient email, this data sheet is just temporary display, right? It's not stored in the computer. Then will that change have long-term effect in the database, in the data? Actually, yes, because this first name come from the patient table. When you change this first name, the patient table's first name of the first record is updated. So if I close this patient email and I open the patient table, I can see that my name is changed back, right, to my official name. All right, official name. So that's how you update the table, by updating the queries datasheet. Still, I will never do that. Right? I will never do that because in my mind, a query result is just a display for the result. It should have no meaningful long-term effect to the real data stored on the database. Okay. All right. So in the first query, our data come from one table. But what if the data actually we need come from multiple tables? Then we need to add multiple tables into the query's design. And when you're doing that, one thing you need to check is make sure that there is a relationship between tables. So, which means we need common fields between the tables so that the data from different tables can be connected correctly to be meaningful. Okay, all right. All right, so now let's build a query with two tables, involve two tables. So again, we go to Create tab, use Query Design. So now I need two tables. So the one table I need is, again, patient. All right, I can double click patient, then patient table is added. But I also need the data from visit. Okay, that's all I need. Then I can close it. Now you can see that there is a connection between the patient and visit, which means the records from the patient table are connected with corresponding visit records. All right. Now, if there are no such connection between these two tables, the result will be very, very weird. But anyway, at this moment, it's good. So let's do that. All right, let's do that. All right, then you decide what kind of result you need. In the patient field, all right, I want city. I'm sorry, patient table, I want a city. Double click city. Then I also need the first name and the last name. Okay. Then I want date, visit date from the visit table, which is here. I also want the reason. So you can see I have 3 fields from patient table and 2 fields from visit table. And be careful, I'm not using any of the primary keys, right? I don't include patient ID, I don't include visit ID. It's okay, because you can pick the date fields you want to display. Now, if I run it, I see 85 records. So you can see that the name and their date visit and the reasons are put together in the records. And you can see that my name is here with one visit. Now you may wonder, is that correct? So let's double check what we have in the table, right? Let's go to patient table. You see that my name, my patient ID is 13 250, right? 13250. So for this name, if I go to visit table, 13250, this one. So only this visit belong to me, which is on November 3rd. Reason is dermatitis. All right. Anyway, medical terms confuse me. All right. So it seems like this is the right answer for me. Is that true in the query one? In the query one, yes. For me, only this visit information is listed under my name. Everything. So you use that to check. Actually, the two tables records are linked correctly and displayed correctly. So this is a power we can get from the query. All right, so now let's close the visit, close the patient, and let's save the query. All right, you can right click the query and save it. The name I use is patient visits. All right, patient visits. Click OK. So now close it. Every time I use patient visits, I see everything good. All right, be careful. Pay attention to that 85 records, right? 85 records. Before we move on, all right, let me show you one thing. What if we don't have the relationship set up? Or what if we don't have a relationship set up? Then actually depends on how powerful access is. Let's try that. All right, let's see how the access will behave. Actually, I'm not 100% sure what will happen. I only know theoretically it should be wrong. All right, let's go to relationship. Visit and a patient. Right, let's delete this one. Delete this relationship. Okay, delete this relationship. All right, close it. Then let's run the patient visit. This one's okay. All right, this one's okay because if we check its design view, it's still fine. But what if we create a new query? All right, let's create a new query. Again, I want tables. I want patient and visit. Now, the computer is pretty powerful to recognize that there are common fields. But what if we break this tie? I say no. Ignore that. Then what kind of result we will have? Let's say I still use city, right? I use city. I use first name, last name, visit date, and a reason. All right, same thing. The 5 records. If I run it, do you see how many records do I have? 4,335. Why? Okay, again, look at me, all right? So you see, I have a record here which connect me to the visit of influenza on this day. Then, is there another me? All right, let me just sort it based on this one. Sort, all right. Okay, let's find me. You see the problem? Me. My name appear actually, I believe, 85 times. Linked to every visitor record. Every visitor. Because the computer loses the clue. How I connect personal information with visitor information. So when the computer have no clue, the computer just connect you with every visit information. That'll make most of the records meaningless in the result if you don't have the relationship set up correctly. Okay, so that's the problem. If we go back to the design, use view to go back to design view. All right, and if we rebuild this connection, use drag and drop. Then if we run again, now everything's good, right? Everything's good. So that's why the connection between the table is very important. The best way to do it is officially set up the relationship. Then you will be totally fine. All right, so here, let me close the query first. The best way to do it is make sure the relationship is set up. Then you will be always okay when you put multiple tables into the query. All right, so if your query give you weird results, double check the relationship. All right, double check the relationship. All right, now let's talk about the sorting of the query's result. Sorting is to reorder the records based on certain criteria, like based on one field's value or based on multiple fields' value. It's very useful when you need to order those records so that you can easily find the item you want. Or maybe you want an order to know who's the best, who's the worst. So that's how sorting can help you. There are different ways to make the record sorted. One is directly use a data sheet to perform sorting, like what you did in Excel. All right. Then in that case, you can use auto filter on the data sheet to perform the sorting. So that's one way to do it. When you do that, you need to know that if you sort based on certain fields, then if the field is short text, then the sorting order is either A to Z or Z to A alphabetically. If it's a number, it's based on their value. All right, ascending or descending. It's data time. Ascending is oldest time to the most recent. Descending is the other way. Currency is based on the value. All right, again, high value, low value. Auto number is an integer, so it's a low number to high number or high number to low number. Yes, no. Now that's tricky. For ascending, yes, then no. For descending, no, then yes. All right, no, then yes. All right. So that's how the sorting work. You can also define sorting in the query's design view so that every time you double click on the query, the sorting will automatically happen, which means you can code the sorting inside the query design. So you don't need to use the data sheet at all. So that's another way to do it. When you do that, you can sort on multiple fields, or you can even sort on multiple fields to do that. When you do that, that means that you have multiple sorting fields. If the value tie in the first field, then they will be ordered based on the next field. All right, in the sorting setting. So that's how the multiple field sorting work. If the fields is primary key, which means there are no duplicates, then you don't need multiple fields. But sometimes we need sort based on multiple fields to break the tie of the first field. Okay, let's start the patient visit. All right, patient visit. So this is the query we built already. At this moment, you can see that I don't see any order. All right, anyone see any order there? I don't. City? No. ASC, right? Name? L is the first. Actually, they are sorted based on, I believe, is visiting ID. Patient ID maybe. Yeah, patient ID. Very likely a patient ID. So it's not based on any field we see here. All right, now how we change the order on the data sheet. What we can do is use the sort filter on the home tab. All right, so you can select the column. Okay. Yeah, let's directly yeah, you can directly click the filter. So you can go to the column you want to sort, your sort will be based on, and then you can choose ascending or descending. So here, let's select the city, and then go to filter. Then you can decide you want to sort A to Z or Z to A. All right, A to Z or Z to A. Let's say I want A to Z, or ascending. So click it. You can see all the records are sorted based on that, A to Z. Okay, now if you close it, do you want to save the change to the design? If you say yes, okay. If I open again, it's still sorted. All right, so that's one way to do it. But how does that change the design? You can go to view, because at this moment you are using the datasheet view of the query. You can switch to design view. Now you can see that the design view is like this. Okay, actually in the design view we don't have any sorting yet. All right, we don't have any sorting yet. So let's change the sorting criteria. We want to sort based on the city first, ascending. All right, but then what if the patient come from the same city? Then how we want to sort based on that? Then in the same city, we will sort based on their visiting date using descending. So the most recent one will be on the top. Now we are using two sorting criteria. First criteria, city. The next criteria, visit date. So this is how we do that. Then you may say, how do I know which one is the first, which is the second sorting criteria? Now in the access, the one on the left will be sorted first. The one on the right will be the next. So the sequence does matter. If you want the visit date to be the first criteria in sorting, you need to move it to the left side of city so that it can be used as the first sorting criteria. Okay. All right, after doing this, let's do the run. Now you can see Atlanta still the first, but within Atlanta you will see that the date is sorted. Right, the date is sorted, and in descending order. The most recent, actually not recent, right? It's the future. Yeah, something there. Yeah, it's a future for now. All right, when I'm recording this video. So that's how you sort multiple fields. All right, multiple fields. All right, if we click save, we save the query and we can close it. Now anytime we open, it will look like this. So a filter is used when you need to display certain records. All right, if the result from the query is too large and there are too many records, but you only want to see some of them, and then you can specify the filter so that only selected records are displayed in the results. So one way to do it is to use the datasheet's filter by selection. So you can select some field values, and then those values, the records meet those values, will have those values in those fields will be displayed. All right. Another way to do it is use filter by form, so that you can select the one, it will display all possible fields values. Then you can pick one of those values, then those records will be displayed, which we'll discuss in the future. All right, at this moment we only talk about filter by selection. When you use filter by selection, you can decide you want to filter based on the value equal to the value you are selecting now, or not equal to that, or contain that value, so on. So these are couple selection criteria you can use to filter the data. All right, we still have this patient visit opened, so we can see that I'm selecting the first Atlanta in city. Then I can go to selection, say, hey, how about only show the equal Atlanta? Now you can see after the filter applied, only Atlanta records are displayed. You can toggle it off, then you go back to everything. You toggle it on, Atlanta only. You can also say, hey, does not equal Atlanta. All right. I think I need to reapply it. Let me select Atlanta when everything is displayed. I say does not equal to Atlanta. Now everything other than Atlanta is displayed. So that's how we use a filter. And then let's go to the reason. Okay, let's go to the reason. Let's go to the reason with annual here. All right, with annual here, let's say I want everything start with annual. So I can select the word annual here, then go to the selection. You can see that begin with annual, does not begin with annual, contains annual, does not contain. So if you select certain words inside a field, then those words can be used as a filter criteria. So I want everything begin with annual. All right, so that's how we do it. And again, you can toggle it off. So that's how we use a selection filter.